right, Detroit. Rod Grimes is here with us. So Rod, you're a retired police officer. Is that right?
That's correct. Retired.
How many years? You're good. How many years?
Yep. So 46 years and counting. Actually, I've retired from 2 police agencies and currently working part-time in a 3rd.
No kidding. All right. So Detroit Public, I always say that. Detroit Police Department was one agency. Did you go to the state or?
No, after 25 years with Detroit Police Department, I went over to Detroit Public Schools Community District.
That's where I get that from. That's where I get the DPS thing from. Cool. Well, man, welcome to the show.
Yeah, but I know Rod because of the Corvette Club. He's the president.
That's
and they helped us out this past Halloween over at Mini Mart Meats. They had the Corvettes full of candy, and I just want to thank them again. Every time I think about that event and all the kids that came out and that we were able to give free candy to, I really, really smile. So thank you.
Yeah,
yes,
that was very powerful.
Yeah, yes. we had a great time with that. The kids just kept coming, and it was amazing.
Yes.
So when I because I work in the NBA, when I watch a game that has nothing to do with the Pistons, I'm watching the game, but all the things that happen in a game that fans are not aware of are with me while I'm watching. So it's hard to watch. I know when a timeout is coming. I know when a coach will call a timeout. I know when the refs say it's a timeout. When you're watching the news and police incidents obviously are all over the news, does all of your training and your work just come into play as you're watching the segment?
Yeah, for me, anytime I hear a incident involving police, my ears perk up, and I try to pay attention to, what's being reported. And, I think back, what would I have done? How was it handled? Based on what's being reported, and just kind of.
It's just natural. There's no other way for you to watch it. It cannot just come on and go off.
Not at all.
I would assume that. Rod Grimes is with us, who has written a book called The Blue in Me. This has to be a fascinating tale. This is a true story, is it not, Rod?
That's correct. It's my memoirs, several of the memoirs over the first 25 years of my career, which was with Detroit Police Department. There will be a 2nd and 3rd book coming that covers my time at the Detroit Public Schools Community District Police Department.
Wow. All right, so that if this is memoirs, that means this is pretty deep stuff. Give me an example of one of the stories inside the book.
Oh, let's see. One that I've shared last week is actually an incident. It was my very first experience. Once I finished the academy and got assigned to my assignment, which was the 5th Precinct, Lower East Side. After roll call, and then a meeting with our patrol inspector, get our orientation. He called for a car to come take us new officers out to walk our beat for the remainder of the day.
Okay.
So officer come pick us up. We get in the car. We're thinking, okay, he's going to drop us off at our beat. We'll walk the beat. In the car, 5 seconds, he hit the red and blue lights, siren, and we take off. And I'm like, wow, all of this just to take us out to a beat? Up Jefferson, half a mile or so, hard right turn down a one-way street the wrong way. What are we doing? Where are we going? Whip the car to the curb. He jump out. He says, hey, come on, let's go. Okay. He said, this is a cut-in. I'm thinking, a cut-in? We have codes for pretty much everything. So I'm thinking, I paid attention in the academy. What's a cut-in?
That didn't ring a bell.
Didn't ring a bell, didn't sound familiar. So I'm like, well, I'm going to act like I know what the heck's going on.
Oh, my gosh.
Us 4 rookies, we jump out of the car and we walk up porch of this house and we go inside. And on the living room couch, there's a guy laying there bleeding from the chest area. And I'm thinking, oh, he was saying this is a cutting.
Right.
Okay, it's a cutting. So we go in and we're talking, and he's taking the lead, and he's trying to figure out what happened. So he's interviewing the victim. And he says, so what happened here? And the victim says, my lifetime friend of 30 years did this to me.
Wow.
Well, why would he do, what happened? Why did he do that? We were arguing over who was the rightful owner of a bamboo fishing rod. And he cut him 14 inches or so down his chest into his belly.
Gosh.
And at that point, I thought, very first call, I'm telling you, very first call. Nothing I see or hear in my career will shock or amaze me.
Yeah.
Because that was just a eye-opener.
That is an amazing story. Wow. A friend of over 30 years over a fishing rod.
Yes.
Boy, oh boy. And the stories go ahead.
Well,
I could ask
took
him a million questions.
Yeah, I was looking at the book. It seems that your mom, when you made the announcement that you were going into serving the public as a police officer, she grabbed your hand and was kind of concerned, son, that's a dangerous job. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. So as a young man, I had a aspiration to play a professional sport, baseball, and then through the years, growing up, most people thought, yep, Rod's going to play professional baseball. I also had this love for numbers. So once I graduated high school, I started my secondary in accounting. So those are two things that I always had a passion for, playing baseball and numbers.
Wow.
But there was a third, and this came from way back as a very young kid, of being a police officer. And what inspired that part for me was there were two people that was kind of dear to me in my life as a young kid that were tragically killed. And I always thought, what can I do to make a difference to stop this kind of activity? So that was always a part of what I might want to do with my life. But when I shared with my mother that I wanted to become a police officer, it touched her. It scared her, obviously,
Sure.
her youngest, want to go off and take on this type of a career. But one thing my mother has always instilled in all of us, all of her kids, is follow your heart, follow your dream. And whatever that dream is, be the best that you can be at it. So she would not stand in the way of me following that dream.
Right.
But she always encouraged me to be the best I could be in that career.
Yeah, I would imagine that's like sending a son off to war. And when it's the baby, that's even tougher. That's a tough call. We're speaking with Rod Grimes, The Blue in Me, a pretty deeply detailed account of being a police officer. And there aren't any names, but you speak of partners and some of their emotional breakdown in the book. I know in the book there's a simple traffic stop, and an officer doesn't treat the person who was stopped very nicely, asking about registration and license and stuff like that. A lot of these stories go deeper than just a natural stop.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Some of these incidents, the officer knows the person.
For sure. Yeah.
That's a crazy thing. I never think about that they might know the person they stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So what made you want to write this book?
So here's the thing about the book. I never, in my 40-plus years of police service, thought of writing a book, even though the career was truly amazing, and I got to go places, see people, meet people that most people will not ever have the opportunity to. And I'll share those as I get deeper into some of my writings. But what the inspiration was my granddaughter. My 15-year-old granddaughter at the time was 12 when I started writing. I was thinking about her one day, and I was like, I want to leave her something that she can know what her granddad did with his life, and she can have that for years and years. So I decided I'm going to tell my story of what I did to try to make a difference in our community.
The book sounds like a movie, or reads like a movie, I should say. The Blue in Me. They can easily take like 4 or 5 things out of this book and make a movie. One of the things you gave us one incident. Give us something that's in the book based on someone you met that you probably wouldn't have met if you were not in uniform.
So, can we speak about the Queen of England?
Whoa. Are you saying you met the Queen of England?
I have. And there's so many others. Nelson Mandela, when he had his first visit here after being released from incarceration, he came to Detroit. I had an opportunity to be a part of a detail that protected that delegate that came in.
And that's in the book.
Yeah, I'll speak to that.
You also, in the book, do you talk about former Mayor Coleman Young?
No, so I did serve on a detail.
I know that part. I knew.
But I mainly focused on Rod Grimes and the events of Rod Grimes. And no, so even though Mayor Young was our mayor for 20 years, and I feel did a great service for our community, I did not serve on his detail. I was hired in under his administration, though.
Do you talk about the chiefs that you worked with?
I do speak about a couple of the chiefs that I worked under and served under.
Oh, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Rod Grimes.
So look,
the Blue in Me.
I heard him say, the motivation was his granddaughter, and he wants her to have something,
A legacy.
But the thing that I heard was serving the community. He has, I can just feel the energy. He has a passion for serving the community, and in excellence, not just kind of like, oh, I do that. Like, he gives 110% of himself, and I know that again. And I will speak to, the Corvette. The way you got, they didn't come with no cheap candy. Them kids was like, oh, this is the real deal. And the other thing that I loved was the kids, the expressions on their faces when they saw these sweet Corvettes that were just like perfect, but these people who were just quality people and just giving back. So, Rod, I appreciate your dedication to Detroit, because you could have been a lot of other things, but you chose, like your mom said, seriously, you really going to be a police officer?
How do you get the book?
So the book is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, either or. Then I will be, having a supply of books on hand. You can reach out to me through my website, which is either going to rodgrimes.net, no space in it, or theblueinme.com.
Great. rodgrimes.net or theblueinme.com. Excellent. Before you go, any closing thoughts you want to leave us with regarding the book?
Sure. As I said, the whole purpose of writing the book was to share with my granddaughter. But as I wrote the book, I would like to think that that book will hopefully inspire younger officers to really reach for their dream. Hopefully they'll read that book and see things that I tried to do to represent the badge with integrity and dignity and honor, So hopefully it'll be an inspiration to officers that are currently on the job or those that may be thinking about becoming a police officer. It's always going to, for me, be about giving back and helping support our community.
You became a police officer at what age?
I had my 22nd birthday while I was in the academy.
Wow. Rod Grimes.
Amazing.
The Blue and Me. Thanks for stopping by and sharing. And again, you can go to rodgrimes.net or you can go to theblueandme.com and get the book.
Absolutely.
Good stuff, Rod. Thanks for stopping by and sharing with us this morning.
Thank you.
Nice.